Hi, how's it going? We're going to look at marking and correction today for an IELTS Task 1 writing task, which was pie charts. This was presented as homework for students. I don't know where I can't remember where I got this question from, but if you are the author of this and you want to be credited, just leave a message and I'll put this down below in the information section. Okay, so this pie chart, like I said, was given as homework, and it was about a hotel called the Parkway Hotel and a questionnaire that 100 guests were asked to fill in 2 years. And you can see their percentages between 2005 and 2010. And there were 5 different types of ratings, 5 categories of ratings: so excellent, good, satisfactory, poor, and very poor. Okay, so the answer that I was given as homework was pretty good. In general, I was quite happy with this, but there's a few things that need to be made mention of. So, the good things: nice, clear paragraphs. Down here, I can see that they've spoken about percentages and told me the years that they happened and what they did. They decreased and increased, so that's pretty good. The introduction is a really good paraphrase, but the negative point is really this overview, which we'll go into later. So there's a few little things that were wrong with this, but in general, overall, this was quite a good report, and especially considering the person writing this only had 1 lesson on writing pie charts, so I was quite happy with this. Okay, now one major issue was that it's only 124 words. Now that's 26 words under the minimum word count. It has to do with this overview. The overview is not an overview. It says overall, it looks like an overview, but it's not. It is a main body paragraph. It is comparing information. And I think if this author had written a proper overview, this wouldn't have been an issue. But she hasn't, so this would cost marks. In fact, I gave this, for task achievement, I gave this 4. 1, I gave a 5 because there was no clear overview, and 2, the word count was 26 words under. Now, would an examiner do that? Don't know. I'm not an examiner, but that's how I mark it. Okay, so let's have a look at her introduction. The pie chart compare information about how 100 guests who visited the Parkway Hotel rated the hotel's customer service from 5 different rates in the years 2005 and 2010. Pretty damn good paraphrase as far as I'm concerned. You know, tells the reader what kind of chart it is, changes the verb to compare. You know, it's paraphrases very effectively the questionnaire. The 100 guests who visited the Parkway Hotel rated. So instead of saying who rated, you know, it's good. It's good. It's a good little paraphrase here. The only real problem I had is the hotel's customer service. So if we have a look here, there are some errors in here. So for example, the first one that I always look for is subject-verb agreement. I've got my subject here and my verb. Now I've got 2 charts, and you can see the pie chart. If this was only 1, I would say, yay, fantastic, but it's 2. So pay attention to these 4 words in your introductions. You don't want to have a mistake in the very first 4 words. So focus on your sentence subject-verb agreement. The hotel's customer service is not technically an error, but because it's taken directly from the question rubric, I would probably say that the examiner may not count these 4 words because they're copied directly. So they won't mark you down, they just won't count these words. So as she only had 124 words to begin with, if we cut these 4 words, she's down to 120. Does that make much of a difference? Considering she's under the word count, no. But if she had written 150 words and she had -4, she's still going to lose marks. So be careful of that. 5, technically not an error, but I would suggest learning how to spell numbers from 0 to 10. So, you know, 5, F-I-V-E. Just write them out. Now anything over 10, like 11, 12, 100, just write them as digits. In 2 specific years, I've changed this a little bit because in the years 2005 and 2010 was a direct copy as well. So I'm just trying to paraphrase as much as possible. So to assist here, the hotel's customer service, I suggested to change the hotel's customer service to their customer service. But this could cause issues, because there it could mean the 100 guests or it could mean the Parkway Hotel. However, I'm going to trust that the examiner is an English speaker at a very high level, and they will realize that there is related to Parkway Hotel because it's their customer service. I mean, I could also say rated the customer service at the hotel, and that would be just as good, but I think their customer service is probably a little bit better. In addition to that, there's not a lot of referencing throughout this report. You know, they, their, them. So I've decided to put in there, so I do have more referencing. I think there's only 2 varieties, and that's it. So we need more than that. Okay, so the overview, as I mentioned, this highlights the largest proportion in both years. So it mentions the percentages for this one here, and it mentions the percentages for this one here. However, there's some major problems in here. It's not an overview. It's not an overview because there are percentages here. Straight away, that tells me it's not an overview. I don't even look at this as an overview anymore. It is, however, quite a good first body paragraph. The one that contains the information, the one where we make most of our comparisons. However, there's some major mistakes here. Very poor rate is over here. This is satisfactory. That's what she's talking about. She's talking about satisfactory, and she's talking about good. If you have a look here, the very poor rate and the satisfactory rate, the percentages are wrong. Now, if I saw this as an overview, I would still be marking that down. It's not a good overview because of these mistakes. This one here, very poor and satisfactory, the percentages. Also, this word increased here. That's a problem because it didn't increase, it decreased. However, it contains data. However, it is not a bad attempt at the first go. So how can we fix this? What should we be looking for? So we should be looking for the largest and smallest proportions. You know, so this one here and this one here. That's important to look for. Other things to look for are increases and decreases. All of these increase or they decrease. So we can break these into 2 different categories, which makes it easier to have 2 body paragraphs. We can talk about the increases and then the decreases, and that's a benefit for later. But we could also mention this in general terms in the overview. We could also talk about the most significant changes. Now, in this pie chart, everything is a significant change. So excellent increased by almost 6 times. Good, you know, what was that? Just under twice, it doubled. The percentage here decreased by 3 times almost. This one practically doubled. This one decreased by 3 times. So you can see that there's quite a lot of substantial changes here, significant. So all of these are things that I would discuss in my body paragraphs, and the overview would be very general. Okay, so the overall overview that I suggested, it's not great, but it will do for now, because you know, most people are getting used to it. As we get through more of these, people tend to improve, and we start looking at more, you know, different sentence types. So overall, there were significant decreases in the negative ratings and increases in the positive responses between the years given. Mostly true. The only thing that wasn't really mentioned is the satisfactory, which I suppose it depends. Is the glass half full or is it half empty? I'm going to put satisfactory in the negative rating. Technically it's in the middle, but I'm going to put that as part of the negative rating. Okay. Furthermore, the most common answer to the survey in 2005 was satisfactory. while in 2010 most people rated the service as good. Now, here I'm talking about the decreases, but I'm also talking about the most and the least. Oh, sorry, not the least. What am I talking about? Oh no, that's a lie. I'm talking about the most. So I got the most common and most people. Now, a little bit repetitive. That's why I try to use most common answer. However, I'm talking about increases and decreases, and I'm making some sort of comparison in the overview. I need to compare all the way throughout. Okay, so looking at the body paragraph, this was not too bad. A lot of repetition in the sentences, but that's because she was instructed not to worry about being inventive, but just to write clear sentences that describe the changes. And she has done so admirably for a first, especially for a first attempt. The grammar is mostly good. There's a few little things in here, but nothing really too much to be concerned about at the moment. She has a nice little introduction, it can be seen, which is the passive. However, I would keep this for the first body paragraph rather than the second one, because I want to use in contrast or in comparison to start my next body paragraph to show there's a contrast, which is why I want to have increases and decreases. So this is not too bad. However, I've modified this a bit to make it a little bit more IELTS-y, I suppose. I haven't changed the structure too much, just mainly pointing out some ways that could be added. So in comparison, or in contrast, it should be in contrast, there were exceptional changes in the remaining three groups between the years. Yep, good. So she's talking about significant changes. So that's a good point. She's made a good point here. The rating of good decreased 9% from 21% in 2005 to 12% in 2010, and the poor rating also decreased 11%, 15% to 4%. However, customers who reported that the customer service was excellent increased by 23 percentage points from 5% to 28% in 2010. Okay, percentage points, 23 percentage points. Here, this decrease in 9%, technically it's wrong. It didn't decrease by 9%. It moved percentage points. You know, we got 23 percentage points from 5% to 28, so there's 0.5, another point is 0.6, 0.7, 0.8 to 28%. Okay, now, here, if we have a look at 9%, I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to round that up to 10. And I'm going to round this down to 20 because my mathematics skills aren't very good. So if I said that 10% of 20 was 8 or whatever it is, that would be too much. It's not. 9% of 21% is actually, or 10% is about 2. So this is not correct. If it decreased by 10% or 20 to 18% would be the correct percentage here. So decrease 9% is not technically correct, and try to avoid it if you can. Find another way of saying it. For example, 23 percentage points. Okay, but in general, like I said, this is a pretty good paragraph that she's written. Okay, so a few things to finish off with. I would be learning how to write comparison and superlative sentences, making sure I have a wide variety of them, not just the same one, the biggest and the smallest. I would have a variety of them, not as big as it increased by 3 times, it was 20% bigger, those types of things. And I also want to practice change sentences a lot, so it increased from here to here, or it increased significantly. Work on those things. Okay, that's about it. Okay, have a good one. Catch you later.